Well, let's talk about the man of the hour, Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about him.
Yeah.
The villain, the title character.
He was great. Looking at the trailers, thought he was going to be pretty good, but there was a little part of me seeing that the guy from Star Wars, who was, kind of thin and not very
Oh yeah, Poe,
buff.
the pilot.
Yeah, that gave me a little bit of concern, but he really nailed it, I thought. He really was pretty darn good for what he was. And he wasn't necessarily the Apocalypse that was kind of over the top from the cartoons.
He had a cool voice.
He was, and he was very much like a Messiah figure trying to, hush, my child, let me shepherd you into the new dawn, New Age Zionism, stuff like that. And, I thought that was very effective. His voice kind of having a metallic echo to it was a neat effect. And just how they handled his whole beginning...
Origin story?
Origin story. Well, roughly origin story. We don't actually see his origin that's in the comics, but we see a good, start.
Yeah, and superpowers, too. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say about Apocalypse I kind of put two and two together about, there's a part where I'm like, he's kind of like Imhotep from the, 90s remake of The Mummy, where he's, walk around that hood cloak like Imhotep was, and he's got these sand powers like Imhotep has.
In broad daylight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty much, it got flashbacks to, like, The Mummy. In fact, there are scenes in this movie where we see, like, him at that giant pyramid and, having Magneto cause us, like, a bunch of destruction. I'm like, it's kind of like Transformers 2 with the Fallen, with, pyramid.
Yeah, controlling gravity, yeah. Absolutely.
And then I was getting a lot of flashbacks to, Yu-Gi-Oh! And that sort of thing. Because all the Egyptians...
7 mystical millennium items were unlocked.
Yeah, that's in the tomb next door to his, but...
Next exhibit, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, next exhibit.
And his design was very controversial. People didn't like it. They said he looked like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, the Power Rangers movie from the 90s.
Those pictures, like, he was really purple, and apparently they did that on purpose because they have to do color correction after they film it. So I think it turned out fine. He looks more bluish-gray, which is more like the comic. And I like how his part of his belt looks kind of like an A, which is an homage to the A on his belt in the comics. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's an A, get on this.
Yeah, Cyclops.
Let's also talk about how he generated a force field of the power of grape. That was one place where purple was very present.
Yeah, the spirit of Prince is absorbed by him pretty much.
He was a mutant.
Same thing that powers what's-her-face's sword, Psylocke. It's powered by Prince's soul.
Yes, mutant confirmed. He has passed on, but he is still... No, wait, but he wasn't in the 80s, so,
Yeah, speaking of which, I heard that with Olivia Munn, she had to eat about 8% of her diet was fruit.
Yeah. Just
fruit alone, just to get into shape for that role. And you probably saw it, but there was footage.
It was a good shape.
But also there was video footage, it was funny, where it showed her and, like, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool doing, like, a sword fight kind of thing. Like, she had the sword, and he had, like, a rubber sword and that.
Of course.
It was pretty funny. I will say that I did like the newer, cast that they brought in, the younger ones. I did like the casting, I did like the chemistry. One thing I felt like that I was kind of disappointed about was Jubilee.
Where I wanted to see some damn fireworks coming out of her fingers, because that's what she does.
You gotta wait till 4th of July for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I will say that the casting was good. I'm like, oh, she's got, like, the, yellow kind of coat-looking thing, kind of like in the 90s X-Men cartoon. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, come on, do some, firecrackers and that.
Yeah.
That was cool how at the end they're all wearing, like, their very comic-y looking costumes, which I hope that means in the future movies they'll have that. Because, again, they gave them all black like they did in the originals, which people hated.
Yeah, so. We expecting yellow spandex.
Yes, we are.
They even joked about it.
Yeah, that was in the first movie.
And in First Class, they kind of had more yellow and black.
Well, yeah, that was kind of homage to the original designs they had in the comics, and also as a way for them to determine we're not from any other country, we're, kind of our own team, and other reasons, too.
Right.
Also, this movie was brutal. Like, the first, like...
I know.
There were some scenes where I'm like, damn, like, none of the other X-Men movies are this violent.
Yeah, I mean, people were getting, like, crushed and burned.
Heads cut off by sand.
Civil War, please take a hint. I'm sorry, I just can't be subtle about it.
Well, all movies take a hint.
Yeah, that's true. But, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean... But I couldn't help the fact that while watching this, the intro where they show Egypt and that, I couldn't help but think there's going to be some whiners complain about, oh, this is like Gods of Egypt with all the whitewashing. I get them like my hypocritical bias. Let me ruin this experience for me.
Triggered Tumblr at arms. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, the review's probably not even over yet, and they already have like a kind of trending thing going on.
Yep.
To take down this our channel.
Takes inhaler, breathes intensely.
We gotta create a new gender to tackle this thing.
That's it. There's 3,097 genders.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this movie was pretty, lengthy. But one thing I really did like was how they kept developing Magneto's character. I really liked how they kept developing him more. I thought, the scenes when it came to his character development were the best developed. And also, I really liked all the scenes they had with his, newer family. And it was a really sad moment, and it was pretty effective.
Yeah.
Steven.
He gets speared by an arrow.
Come on, you just spoiled.
We've already spoiled.
Oh, Schwitz, man, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's halfway through the movie, but still, it's like
that wasn't
his
even
family
halfway.
gets
That
kebabbed.
was, yeah, that was. It was important, but not important at all.
Yeah, no, I know.
And was kind of just like, that's it. I'm King Magneto again.
Yeah, and then the way he kills all those dudes is pretty gnarly.
That was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of like Sebastian Shaw did that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that this, again, is a movie where don't listen to the critics. It's a really good movie. I had a really fun time with it. I think it's one of my favorite movies of the year. So I think it's time to wrap it up maybe. But what would you give this movie, Stephen?
Oh, well, I want to say absolutely. I really agree with Tyler on this. I think that for so many movies this year, and I don't know, I think it's been longer than just this year, because, Hollywood is generally a very, particular demographic of, this is good, this is not. But it feels like, even in terms of media coverage, something is not fair anymore. Like, something is changing of, well, you have to meet this demographic, you have to be, what Marvel is doing right now to even compete. And I know a part of that is capitalism. That can't be completely blamed on, the industry itself. But I really think that, for a lot of these things, you need to decide a critic who really thinks your way, or, just go in and muscle it yourself, because you really can't trust just anyone anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad, but it's kind of the age of media that we're getting into, oversaturated. But in talking about what I'd give this movie, I really did like this. I think it may have been a little weaker than the first one, being First Class. Except for the action part. The action was, I would say, top-notch in this, even compared to the first one. And Days of Future Past, I liked, but I still can't get over, the fact that there's kind of a inherent, we're sorry behind it, because, with The Last Stand and X-Men Orange's Tangerine, where they messed up Deadpool.
That was a Deadpool movie.
Yeah, that's right. But, basically, I respect owning up to your mistakes a lot, and I just couldn't really swallow, I'm not going to forget everything else that's happened just because you say forget about it. But in any case, This movie, I would personally give about an 86%. I think that pretty much encompasses it pretty fairly. Higher end B movie. So, B grade, not, B like you barely pass, but, yeah, it was good.
How about you, Luke?
So going off of Steven's earlier point, you can read reviews. But I don't think you should listen to them necessarily. But you can hear what they have to say about it, but make your own judgments. Go in and see it for yourself, because you're really the only person that matters because film is subjective. So everybody's going to have their own opinions. I think overall I really like this movie, but I think First Class, like you guys said, has a little small edge over this one. Mm-hmm. I thought some of the writing here and there was maybe a little shaky. I thought that one dream sequence was kind of odd, where they were fighting in each other's head. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I guess the beginning was a little more lengthy, but
The one thing that I did kind of miss was X-Men recently has been kind of incorporating real life events, where First Class had the Cuban Missile Crisis, Days of Future Past had JFK's assassination. So to kind of have that element missing from this one, I kind of felt that. But overall, I had a great time with it. I think I'd give it a solid 80%.
Personally, I think that the individual is their best critic. But personally, I think that this movie was really good. Now, the thing is that I have grown up with this franchise. In fact, I was about 7 years old when I watched the first X-Men movie. I mean, that was the first comic book movie I ever saw in theaters. And this is the one comic book movie franchise I've grown up with. I've never skipped out on a single X-Men movie. So I know these movies. I've grown up with them my life. For most of my life. But so I know these movies, what's the good ones and what's the bad ones. And I have to say, this is definitely one of the better X-Men movies. I mean, I didn't like as much as maybe Days of Future Past or maybe even First Class, but I would say it's easily better than the Wolverine spin-off movies and Last Stand. Yeah. I will say that it's still entertaining. I mean, yeah, there are some problems, and maybe some minor shortcomings for nearly 2.5 hour long movie. There were some characters I felt like they could have developed a little bit more. I wish some of the trailers didn't show as much footage as they did. But overall, I feel like this franchise does have a better track record than the last one, that had the original timeline and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're learning from the mistakes of that. I do think that it's still entertaining regardless. So overall, I give X-Men Apocalypse about 3 stars out of 4.
Yeah, I think all those are pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just want to make one, final note. I know that we have expressed how much we think some of the actresses in this movie are attractive. We are expressing ourselves because we're guys and that, but the thing is that we know these women are talented. We know they can act and that sort of thing.
And take the heat.
But the thing is that y'all know that you're judging us, but the thing is that you pretty much drool when you see someone like, Chris Hemsworth taking his shirt off for no apparent reason.
Uh-oh, more triggering.
I'm just being honest, trying to cut through the bias. And that's fine if, you do that with Chris Hemsworth. That's just your thing. And it's fine for, us guys, for the ladies and that.
I love when you kept talking about the development of characters. I was thinking yes, he was very developed in a certain area, and she was very developed. Look at that development in the posterior. The backing is very firm, and the breast features are. No, but yeah, it absolutely. It's not supposed to be hey, let's simultaneously trigger every woman on the face of the planet. Into a harpy attack, but yeah, I mean we're not very closed book about it, so
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're just trying to on a kind of funny note. So anyway, this is Tyler from End Credit Reviews,
Steven from Steven Lawson Studios,
and Luke from the back seat.
All right. So, thanks for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed this video of Unscripted. Hopefully you'll check out more of the Anchor Reviews channel. Please like and subscribe.